To measure the diameter of a tree, you require to have a stick, that is the DBH, diameter at breast height, measuring 1.3. You use the stick to measure the DBH with the tree. After finding that point, you use the diameter tape to take the diameter measurement. After reading the diameter measurement, you record.
Diameter is 20, at breast height is 20 centimeters.
To measure the height of this tree, you need a baseline which is equal to the scale of the instrument being used. The instrument might be the suunto scale, and always go against the contours, not down the slope. Measure the baseline you want to use, which should be equal to the scale of the instrument being used. In this case, we are using 20. Our baseline will be 20 meters. Therefore, our instrument scale will be 20. Which in this case, we are using the suunto. So our suunto scale will read 20. At that point, you read the lower reading of the tree and you record using the suunto instrument.
The lower reading is 1.5.
After taking the lower reading, you are required also to take the upper reading of the tree.
The upper reading is 16.5.
To find the true height of the tree, take the upper reading minus the lower reading times the baseline all over the scale of the instrument plus the datum. That will give you the true height of the tree. In this second example, we might find a forked tree which is below the DBH, meaning the trees will be measured separately. In this case, we have 4 trees which are from one stump. That is, they are below the DBH. So we measure the diameter of each tree separately. Measure the diameter of the first tree at breast height and record the reading.
Diameter at breast height of the first tree is 17 centimeters.
Also measure the diameter of the other trees. If the trees are below the DBH, they are treated as individual trees.
The diameter at breast height of the second tree is 16 centimeters. Now this is different. Diameter at breast height of the third tree is 18 centimeters. Diameter at breast height of the fourth tree is 21 centimeters.
To measure the height of these forked trees, which are below the DBH, since they are treated differently, they are treated as single trees. Measure the height of each tree separately. Only the lower reading will be the same. The difference is the upper reading. To find the true height of each individual tree, use the formula upper reading minus the lower reading times the horizontal distance over the scale of the instrument plus the datum. In this next example, we find a tree forked, but it is above the DBH, that is diameter at breast height. This tree will be treated as a single tree, meaning you measure the diameter of the single tree. Measure the diameter of the tree at breast height. And then record the reading.
DPH at breast height is 40 centimeter.
Since this tree is treated as a single tree with its diameter above the DBH, the height of the tree will be measured using only one tree, which is you take the lower reading of the tree, then the upper reading of the tree, calculate the true reading, which is the upper reading minus the lower reading times the horizontal distance over the scale of the instrument plus the datum. Alternatively, you can measure the diameter of these trees using other instruments, such as the calipers, apart from the diameter tape. And also, you can measure the height of all these trees using other instruments, apart from the suunto, such as altimeter. In this example, you might find in a situation whereby you don't see the lower reading, I mean the lower part of the tree at a certain horizontal distance. That is in our case at 20 meters. So first you need to determine the distance from the ground to the place you can see at 20 meters, which is that will be your datum at that moment. From the place you see to the ground, that is what we call the datum. As we can see, this is our horizontal distance, which is 20 meters. And from this place, you cannot see the bottom or the lower part of the tree. That's why we require to take a datum from the ground to the point we can see. Take the datum of that point and then record it.
The datum is 0.4 meter.
Our datum is 0.4 meters. From that point, we can now read our lower reading. Mark the point for easy visibility and to avoid confusion. Take the reading of the lower part of the tree from where you can see.
The lower reading is negative 2.5. The upper reading is 9.25.
Now, from our recorded reading of the upper reading of the tree, the lower reading and the datum, this is how you find the true height of the tree. You take the upper reading minus the lower reading times the horizontal distance over the scale of the instrument plus the datum which was measured before the lower reading was taken. This work was done by the following admission numbers: 1436, 1434, 1453, 1443, 1459, 1463, and 1466.